Yeah, I had somebody ask today, how to trace down an issue with the winged monkey in Wizard of Oz. Their monkey was not, isn't picking up the ball, and so I want to kind of go through this with starting with the very, very basics. And so the first thing we're going to do is lift the playfield and do that properly, and then we're going to see if we can do a visual inspection on the monkey and this magnet and figure out what's going on with that. So to lift the playfield, I'm going to firmly grasp it here in the middle by the apron. I'm going to pull straight up. I'm also going to pull the shooter rod out just a bit. It actually has enough clearance, but just to be on the safe side, pull straight up. And then something you want to be careful of is over on this side where the shooter rod is, this coil for the auto launcher is very close. And see, if I were to drop it here, I could drop down and bend my shooter rod. So you have to be careful about that when you're picking up the playfield. And there are two resting positions for the playfield up like this. The first one is a set of kind of rubber feet here. Just rest it here, and see, once it's there, the playfield's not going anywhere. And then the second one, there's a second set of rubber feet. Set that down in there, and again, the playfield's not going anywhere. It's there, nice and secure. Also, whenever I have the playfield up, I always like to have the coin door open and the game in test mode. And so here the game's in test mode, and the coin door is open. And what that does is it makes sure that all the coils are disabled, so I don't have any high voltage that could accidentally short out while I have this up. Now, if I were to lift the playfield all the way up, and actually I do want to still right now remove any balls that were in locks. There we go. Also, I may want to remove any balls that are still in the ball trough, even though it has a little protective flap here. And I can do that by hand by just pushing this flap back, and then down here kind of flicking this coil up. I'll show it here. There we go, like that. And I get the ball, and I'll do that for the remaining ball. And now there's no more balls in the machine. So there's no chance of anything falling out, flying down, and breaking something. Okay, so with this up, we're going to do our visual inspection here of the monkey. First thing I want to look at is the mechanism itself. So this looks pretty good. I see there's this cable here that's feeding power for the magnet, and then there's the two wires, and the solder connections look good. This wire is a pair of looks like a brown and brown striped wire going under the playfield, where I can't see it. And so I'm going to need to go ahead and put the playfield in the full up position for me to continue my inspection. When I do that, I'm going to get a soft cloth and kind of drape it over here, so that way when it's resting against the back, there's no potential damage to the state fair balloon. We'll lift this up, get that out of the way, and rest it. Alright. Looking under the playfield, here's the wires for the winged monkey magnet, and I see it goes to this connector here. And that connector seems to be good and secure. So we are all right there. So if we gotten this far and everything looks good, the next step that we want to do is we want to go ahead and use the diagnostics to activate that magnet and see if it will run or not in kind of a controlled manner. So I'm going to lower the playfield back to that second position. There we are. And I'm going to do, first thing I want to do, is I'm going to move the monkey down just a little bit so that way it's in a spot where I can hold the ball underneath it when I'm testing the magnet. And then I'm going to activate that coil and test the magnet. So, using the buttons in the coin door, I'm going to go through the diagnostic menus over here. And I'm going to first, go to Device Tests, select the winged monkey, and now I can use the volume up and down button to move the monkey. And so can you get back so you can see the monkey? There we go. And just kind of get it in a position where you feel like you're going to be able to get your hand in there and kind of hold the ball in a position that you can feel it activate. Alright? With that done, I'm going to go ahead and exit out of the winged monkey menu and go over to the coils test. And using the enter button, I'm going to select manual, and what that does is lets me pick a coil that I want to run, and then the start button is going to test that coil. It's basically going to pulse it. Now nothing's going to run with the coin door open, so let me first get down to the coil I want to test, which is the monkey magnet, coil number 29, that's selected. I'm going to go ahead and close the coin door. And so now, with the coin door closed, there's power going to all the high voltage magnets, and as well as the coils. So I'm going to hold a ball right here and press the start button, and I can feel that ball is getting picked up. It's just a momentary pulse as I push the start button. And so this is a good working magnet. Now, if I didn't have a good pulse there, the next thing I want to check is for whether or not we're getting power to the monkey. So, we checked the wires. The wires all look good. When we went to test the magnet, we still were not getting any kind of action from the magnet. I was, but we'll say we weren't. So we can go on with where we need to go next in our diagnostics. So if we weren't getting any kind of action from the magnet, what we need to do is we need to first check for power getting to the coil. And I'm going to need to put the playfield all the way up to do that and close the coin door. But first I need to figure out exactly what I need to check. And I'm going to use the manual built into the game's diagnostics to help me find that out. So, I'm going to go out to Utilities, choose View Manual, and I'm going to kind of skim through the table of contents here, and here's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the coil wiring tables. There's two of them. There's 70 volt, which is your higher voltage coils, and 20 volt, which is your lower voltage coils. Chances are the monkey magnet's going to be a higher voltage coil, and so we should find that somewhere around page C95. So let's go ahead and using the volume buttons, we'll go through the manual, and when you hold the button in, it skips through pretty fast, so you can get that far in no time. Almost there. Switch wiring table, coil wiring table. Here's what we're looking for. Okay. So, the coil I'm interested in, since I wasn't getting any action from my monkey magnet in test mode, is this here. This table tells me which driver on the driver board is driving that, if I need to go as far as testing the drivers. But for me, at this point, what I'm more interested in is the wire colors. So, I see here the 70 volt power for this line, which looks like which magnet, top. So this looks like this is all magnets here, are driven by the tan wires. These are going to be solid tan wires. And the monkey one has the yellow, which goes to the driver, because there's constant power going to tan, and then the driver is what goes ahead and connects that coil to ground to activate it. So what I'm going to test is for power at the tan wire at the monkey magnet switch, or the monkey magnet plug. If there's power there, then I might go ahead and go as far as testing all the way up at the monkey coil. So let's go ahead. Now that we know what we're going to look at, put the playfield all the way up. Okay. And so if you remember, when we were looking at inspecting our cables before, we found that this was the monkey cable. And we have a tan wire, and we have a brown wire with a yellow stripe. So that yellow must have been indicating that that was the stripe color for the driver wire. So we're going to test with the coin door closed. There should be 70 volts of power, DC power, right here. So I'm going to close the coin door, and with my multimeter, I have the black lead connected to the ground strap in the game, and I'm going to go ahead and just stick this in here, and I read 67.7 volts. So that's right there in the acceptable range. So this coil is getting power. If my coil wasn't working and I had power coming here, the next thing I want to test for is power at the other end of this wire, which is where the coil is, right where the coil is. So we'll go ahead. Lower the playfield. Come around. Now, if we recall, the wire with the yellow was the drive, where the solid colored wire was the power. And so I can see this wire here has yellow, which means this wire here is my power. So I'll go ahead and test for power there. I'll go ahead and check for power here right at the coil, and I'm getting power at the coil. At this point, if I'm getting power at the coil, but my coil is not firing the test, I'm going to suspect either the coil has gone bad, or my driver for that coil has gone bad.